Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and happy Sunday wherever you are in the world. So today is day 6 of a 7-day live training, and we're going to slow it down a little bit today and take a different approach. And we're going to focus on procrastination and how do you powerfully push through procrastination when it shows up. And if you haven't been on these trainings before, this is actually business training where I'm showing coaches, online service providers, how to take basically how do you set up your business goals for the rest of 2023 or the rest of the year. It's all applicable, no matter what year you're watching this in. And then what are the steps that you need to take for generating leads, filling your masterclasses, booking more sales calls, creating irresistible offers, procrastination, and becoming like a sales superstar. So all of that has been covered over the 7 days. But today we're going to really dive in deep around procrastination because it is the number one killer of so many businesses, and it doesn't need to be. But when you understand it, it opens up a whole load of different things. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm Joanna O'Halloran, and I'm a business mentor and sales expert for new coaches in particular. So in your first 1 to 2 year business, and you want to be able to find and sign 3 to 5 clients consistently on repeat with a signature framework that you can use over and over again. Procrastination. I've yet to have one client come to me that isn't in a procrastination cycle, and it'll show up multiple ways, and we'll go through that shortly. But whether you say you're a perfectionist or you're somebody who feels stuck and you're not really taking action, it's the same thing. Either way, it's stopping you from moving forward and creating exactly what you want. So we're going to have a look at where that comes from, to go deep underneath it. And I'm going to give you some powerful questions to check in with yourself. Now, the one thing that I want you to know is when it comes to procrastination or any leadership mindset work, if you're not brutally honest with yourself, and I mean brutally honest with yourself, it isn't going to shift. And I mean brutally honest, I'm talking about the things that you don't want to ever speak out loud about yourself, that you don't want to think, that if somebody could see inside your brain, you'd be mortified about. These are the pieces that you want to really be able to bring forward so that you can see what's stopping you and you can powerfully move past it. There's 3 pieces that I teach every single solitary one of my clients. Excuse me. Sunday morning. 3 pieces that I powerfully teach my clients, which is the 3 A's. So awareness, acceptance, and action. Most people stop at awareness. So it's I'm aware that I'm stuck. I'm aware I'm procrastinating. I'm aware I'm holding myself back. I'm aware I'm the reason. I'm aware that I'm hiding. I'm aware that these are the actions that I get to take and I'm not taking them. But then they stop there and don't accept that it's not working for them, and don't accept that they have a choice to do something differently, and don't then take action. So when you're sitting in that awareness piece, I guarantee you it's still just surface level awareness. Because if you really got underneath it and really understood where it was coming from and how it was showing up in other parts of your life, you would choose differently. So I've said a couple of times throughout this week, confidence only comes when you're confident with something. It's not like you can feel confident first and then you will take the action steps. It doesn't work like that. There are some things in our lives and in our business that we're naturally confident in because we've done it before, we've seen the outcomes, we've had a rinse and repeat of it. Look, we understand it. So therefore we're competent at it. When we're not competent at something, we have these insecurities, our self-doubt. And what I mean by that is you will second guess your decision. You won't even make a decision. You will ask everybody else what their opinion is before you move forward. But what you may also find is you may be asking the opinion of people that you know are going to validate your fears. Let me say that again. You may be asking the opinion of people that you know are going to validate your fears. So this is why I'm saying you've got to be ridiculously honest with yourself in order to be able to move past procrastination. If you're not, and if you refuse to be honest with yourself, it is going to remain the same because you're not choosing to take the direction in which you need to go. So let's have a look at the way procrastination can show up. And it's going to show up different, what am I trying to say? It's going to show up different ways depending on how far along you are in your business and where your next step is. And it's always going to be there. So these ways of being that you have, they are ingrained into you. They're always going to be there. But it's when you become aware of them and you know that they're there and you can accept that they're there, you can choose differently. So the example and the best visualization that I give my clients to do is whatever hand you write with. I'm right-handed. My daughter's left-handed. Whatever hand you write with, that is the hand. Like, so think of it like your ways of being. So, areas that you're confident in, things that you're really good at, things that you would say come naturally to you, which is not a thing, right? But things that come naturally to you, you just worked that muscle really hard. So like if you write with your whatever hand you write with and you write your name, it's going to be legible, it's going to be in between the lines, and it's perfect, right? Now, if you write with your other hand, so for me, it will be my left hand. If the pen even gets to the paper, we're doing well, right? Never mind trying to even make it legible or even stay in between the lines. It's not a thing. However, if I was to continuously practice this, like continuously every day, multiple times a day, practice it, eventually I will be able to write the exact same way I do with my right hand. Now, does that mean that my right hand is no longer like efficient, sufficient, it's not working properly? No, it just, I've built this muscle up. So this is what I want you to become aware of. You've got to build up the muscles of you that are not, you've pushed down, they're not working at their optimum level right now, and they just need a little boost. So you have, this is where you hear people saying you have everything inside of you and you are built perfect. You have just got to allow the bits of you that you have suppressed for whatever reason, right? We've all experienced different things in our childhoods that have pushed this side of us down. You've just got to be aware of it, that it's there, and start working the muscle of it so that you become balanced. That's all it is. Right now, you're just off balance. So if you think about it being off balance, if you think about like the scales is just tipped one side more than the other, and we just want to work the balance of it to bring it back into status quo. Now, with that, bringing it back into status quo does not mean you wait until you have that to do that. No, you never want to operate in business on an either or. So what I mean by that is that I will do this and then I will do that. I need to have this before I will do that. That's working backwards. Be, do, have is always the way that you want to operate from. So write that down. Be, do, have. So what way do you need to be so that you will do in order for you to have? Let me give you an example. So if I think the very first time I ever went live, I felt physically sick. I was actually sharing this on another live I did yesterday with a friend of mine, Karen, who has a video challenge coming up for authenticity on video, and she teaches you how to become confident on video. If you look back at a previous video that I did with her, you will see the link there for it if you want to join, and I highly recommend you do. But if I think about the first time that I went live on video, I changed my top multiple times. I had tissue stuck under here, right? It was incredible how many times I put it off because my hair wasn't right, my makeup wasn't right. I didn't like the way the lighting was. I didn't like my teeth. I still don't like my teeth, but it doesn't stop me, right? I didn't like the outfit that I had on, and there was too much noise outside. Like, it was, the washing all of a sudden needed to be done. Oh my goodness, look at the dirt that's on the floor. I need to hoover. So it was coming at me in lots of different ways, and I felt terrified. But what I was really afraid of, like what I was truly deep down afraid of, it wasn't hitting the live button. So all the steps that we can see in front of us are excuses for us to not do it. But that wasn't really what was in the way. I was afraid of somebody saying something mean about me and then validating everything I didn't like about myself. Do you hear what I'm saying? So when I first started out, and that was like such a scary thing for me to do, it was very easy to procrastinate because I wasn't aware of what was really going on, nor was I in a place that I was accepting it. So it continued to show up time and time again. So in order for me to go live that time, yes, I got to be courageous. Remember, be, do, have. I got to be courageous in order to do the live so that I could have visibility with people and start to get myself out there and have an audience and have rapport and have people see what I do. So it's the same no matter what it is. It's going to show up in multiple different ways. That type of procrastination for me shows up everywhere, like everywhere, and it still shows up now. It's just there's certain things now that I'm confident with. For example, going live, like I would just switch on a live. I wouldn't even think about what I was wearing, how my hair was, how my makeup was, because I'm confident in it now because I'm competent in it. Therefore, I know that I trust that whatever is going to come out of my mouth is perfect. Plus, I know perfection is not a real thing because that means that it's like finite, it's done, there's nowhere else to grow, which nobody ever wants to be stuck in that, right? So I want you to really become aware of, number one, how is procrastination showing up right now in your business? Are you sitting on the couch and like, are the Netflix series like becoming, oh my goodness, the best things ever? Kids are going back to school. Are you putting all your time and energy and focus into that? And then sitting down and having cups of tea or cups of coffee, you know, because you need to relax. And I'm not saying that you don't relax. Of course, we've got to as business owners, but you can also carve out time to do that. So what are the excuses that you are putting in front of it right now and making real for you so that you don't have to do things? So I just want you to be aware of that and just note them down, and don't give out to yourself for it. Don't make yourself wrong for it, because right now we're in the awareness stage. And if you don't allow yourself to become aware, you're not going to be able to accept. So allow yourself to become aware. And a friend of mine, Tanya, I always remember saying this to me and I was super triggered by it, but I was like, oh my goodness, do you know what? It actually makes sense. But when I say I was triggered, like I was like, oh my God, how dare you say that? How dare you even put that out in the world? That's just not acceptable. And I love when I get triggered by that, because it means there's an emotion that I don't want to feel and there's a place I'm not willing to go, which means it's a breakthrough for me to have. So that's how you guys want to operate too. If you're triggered by something, what is the emotion that you don't want to feel? And what is the breakthrough that you get to have? I'm going to share with you what she said to me. We were talking about procrastination, and where you hold yourself back and you make up excuses as to why you're not going to do things, and you just hide. And then you go into this beat up phase about yourself. So then I'm not good enough, and you gather all the evidence to validate why this is not going to work, why it's not good enough, who are you to do this? Like, why would anybody speak to you? And you go through that cycle. And she said to me, she was like, Joanne, that's a form of violence. And I was like, whoa, like when I say to you I was triggered by this, I was like, that's not okay. Because to me, like especially when it comes to the different types of violence that are out there, I'm very triggered by that, and I never want anyone to experience that. But it got me thinking, and I was like, isn't this interesting, right? So she's saying that she believes that that's a type of violence. So I got curious with it and go, how is that violence? And I was like, do you know what? It's a mental torture that we're doing to ourselves, right? I am sharing these really negative, like degrading, disgusting stories about myself, that if anybody so much as said them to my child, I would absolutely lose my shit. Like, no holds barred. You'd see a whole different Joanne. Absolutely not. But yet I was doing it to myself. So are you doing it to yourself? Are you saying all these horrible, disgusting, negative things about yourself over and over again? And I just started getting really curious about it. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm doing that to myself. So something that I wouldn't accept being done to my child, my partner, my friends, my family, how dare I do that to myself? So this is why I'm saying, whenever you're triggered by something, know that there's an emotion that you don't want to feel, and there's a breakthrough that you get to have. So the emotion that I didn't want to feel was shame. I did not want to feel shame. I was ashamed of certain things that had happened to me when I was growing up. I was ashamed. I'll share it exactly what it was. So when I was younger, there was so I grew up with my mom and my granny and my aunt, and I didn't know my dad. I didn't meet my dad until I was 18. And when I was younger, so growing up in Ireland, Catholic country, there's certain things that are like, back then, certain things that were expected, tolerated, normal, all those things. Thankfully, the world has changed. But because I came from a single parent, some of my friends, I wasn't allowed to go to their houses. I wasn't allowed to play with them because I came from a single parent household, and I was labeled a troublemaker. And imagine a 5 and 6 year old. So it was my friends that would tell me this, of course, because children are innocent, right? They're not doing things to be mean. They're just being honest. But imagine like me as a 5 and 6 year old being told that for a situation I didn't create. I didn't understand. I didn't know why this was happening. Think of everything that ingrained into me. Like everything that ingrained into me for a situation I didn't create. I was holding on to shame for that. That's how far back I went. I was holding on to shame for that. So that this was what the experience that I didn't want to feel. I didn't want to feel that shame. So as soon as I became aware of that, I then had a choice. I could accept it. I could accept that this is what I didn't want to experience. I could accept that that is what I was currently experiencing. And I could accept that I had a choice to shift past this. So I hope this is like, I hope you're getting where I'm coming from with this. You know, there's an emotion that we don't want to feel. Sometimes you will need to go deeper, and you will need, you know, to go through some healing, go through some counseling. Like there's different things. I went on a huge transformational leadership journey. I started it in 2021 and I'm still in it. I coach it and I mentor it because I truly believe in this work, and it has been a game changer for my life. And I direct all of my clients that way too, because like you've heard me talking about mindset multiple times this week. It's not a one and done. And if you think it is, you're actually sabotaging yourself so greatly, because every single solitary one of us, like I would have always said I had a happy childhood, and I still say that I did have a happy childhood. However, there were certain things that happened in my childhood that created me the way that I am. So the people pleasing, like needing to be in control, like being self-centered, being disconnected, like wanting people to come to me and validate me rather than me putting myself out there. So there's ways that these things show up like in our lives that if we don't become aware of them, we're never going to move past them. So I'm literally, this is it all out there for you, right? So other ways in which it shows up for me is, like I said, is that needing people to come to me. I didn't realize how selfish I was. Like I would have said that I would do anything for anyone, and I would, but I needed people to come to me and to validate me. So like if you think about it in your business, right? How many times are like you putting an offer out to people, but you won't actually follow up in the DMs? Like there's all these lists of things that you won't do to connect with people. And it's selfish, but where is it coming from? Why are you needing validation from other people to come to you? Because that's what it is. It's the validation of people coming to you. You want people to tell you that you're good enough and to validate you and your existence in your business, rather than you taking a stand for the people that are in front of you and projecting outwards. But you've got to go deep with this and look at where it's coming from and look at why it's there, and then accept that there is something different. So when you get to the stage, let me go back a second. Write out all the ways that procrastination shows up for you, and what is the emotion that you currently feel, and what is the emotion that you don't want to feel. Like what do you just not want to feel? So like I said, for me it was shame, which then also was like embarrassment and guilt. So Karen actually said to me yesterday, so the lady I was interviewing yesterday turned around, oh, it was brilliant. I was like, oh my goodness. And she's like, yeah, I gotta write that down too. She turned around to me and she said, a maybe is somebody who needs to be in control. It's that side of their people pleaser. It's their no. So what I mean by that is, when you say maybe, it's a people pleaser's no. So rather than actually being direct and saying no, you people please by saying maybe, so that you don't have to deal with it, so that you avoid. So here's another thing. How often do you avoid doing things even though you know it's coming and it's unavoidable? Like it has to be dealt with. So for example, like a looming bill that needs to be paid, or let's say even going to the bathroom. Like there's stuff that needs to be done, but you put it off and put it off and put it off and put it off and put it off until something happens. There's a reason you do that. It's because you want that validation. You want to be rescued. You avoid to try and not have to deal with it, but all you're doing is creating chaos in your life. So have a look at all the ways that in which what do you procrastinate with? So what do you push off? What do you avoid? What do you pretend not to know? What do you pretend is not actually happening? What do you say, yes, I'll look after this when I have this. I will do that when I have this. I need things to look like this before I will do that. So a friend of mine, she wants to be in a romantic relationship. However, she wants the man to come to her. She wants to meet them in an organic setting, but yet she doesn't leave the house. Like, that's never going to happen. Do you think he's just going to knock on your door and go, hi, I'm here. I'm your perfect man. No, but she's not willing to put herself out there. But again, there's an emotion that she doesn't want to feel, but she's not willing to go there so that she can accept it and then take action so that she can have the relationship that she wants. So seriously, see where it is in your life, see what way it shows up. Like, what are the things that you say to yourself? What are the things that you don't say to yourself? What are the things that you do? And be like ridiculously honest with yourself. Now, here's how you push through it. So if it's like, obviously, if you need additional support, you go get it. You've got to be responsible for your health. Okay. So go get it. If you want to know more about the transformational leadership that I've done, by all means, connect with me and I will share all the information with you and guide you in that direction, because I swear by it. Always have done since I started it and always will. I absolutely swear by it. And when you're at that stage where you're very aware as to how it's showing up, like what way it's showing up, you now have a choice to accept it. So like I said, accept that it's not working for you, accept that it's there, accept that it's not going anywhere, and you just have to elevate it so that you become balanced, right? It's just a muscle that you've got to work. There's nothing wrong with you. You just have a muscle that you've got to work, and work consistently. You're not going to be able to work in it for a week and boom, like it's magically not there anymore. No, this is a consistent work, consistent work, consistent work, consistent work. So when you accept that that's the case, you now have a choice. You can choose road A or road B, right? You can choose road A, which is to go, great, I've seen it, I know it's there, and I'm not willing to do anything about it. Okay, great. Then you're also accepting that your circumstances are not going to change because you're being a victim to your circumstances. There is nothing being done to us, everything is being done for us. So nobody else is responsible for us. Nobody else is responsible for, the direction that we're going in. Nobody else can make the changes for you, only you. But it's a choice. It doesn't happen until you choose it. You've got to choose it, and you choose it just because you choose it, not for any other reason. So now let's say you've chosen road B, which is, okay, I see that that's not working for me and I'm choosing something different. These are the things that you get to do from an action point of view to move forward. The first one is forgiveness. You've got to forgive yourself for, where you've held yourself back, where you've made yourself wrong, where you have like been mean to yourself, been cruel to yourself, where you've maybe manipulated yourself and others. And what I mean by that is that, you've spoken out one thing out loud and then you've changed it in your mind, or what you've said in your mind, you never actually create. Therefore, you're not being truthful to yourself, so like forgive yourself for all those pieces and forgive yourself for every nasty thing that you've said to yourself. Because when you hold on to it, the only person that's being impacted by that is you. It's the same. You got to forgive everybody else that, you feel has wronged you, has hurt you, has, manipulated you, like all those things you get to forgive so that you can continue to move forward. That's the first one. And after you forgive yourself and after you go through the forgiveness piece, you want to be able to like cleanse so that you can clear it out. And there's multiple ways in which you can do it. Like there's very simple things where like, like a cold shower, there's like doing lots of grounding work, there's meditations, there's energy healings, there's so many things like hypnotherapy, like there's so many things that you can do, but you get to be responsible for yourself and know what works for you, and what is that thing that you get to go with. I don't recommend, like there's no one of them that I recommend, because you get to be responsible for you and for your health and for your well-being. There's nobody that can tell you what to do. You get to make that decision for you. So after you've done that and you've released and you've cleared, and if you've needed additional support, that you've gone and you've got that. After that, then every day there's very simple things to do. The first one is ask yourself, what am I committed to today? So what is that one thing that I'm committed to? I'm absolutely committed to, like no holds barred, I'm committed to. Then ask yourself, what way do I need to show up so that I can create that? So some days you might need to be brave, right? Other days you might need to be excited, passionate, bold, raw, vulnerable, like whatever it is, say it out loud. So note it down and then affirm it to yourself. So affirm it. So like if, for example, you get like you get to be passionate in order to create whatever it is. Maybe it's going live, right? So you get to be passionate and you get to be brave. Then I am a passionate woman. I am a bold woman. I am a brave woman, whatever it is, but repeat it. And what I recommend people do is, and this is recommendation, if you find music that is like lifts you up, excites you, like really drives you, like I have some songs that like create incredible emotion in me for multiple different reasons. But like one of the ones that I love jumping up and down to is like Usher's More. Like I love that. It really just gets me, gets me going. Yeah. I mean, This Is Good News. Like I love those songs, like because they're real upbeat, like high vibe energy. Everybody's different. Some people love like The Greatest Showman. Whatever it is that gets you into that, connect with it as you're saying it, so that you can ground yourself in the emotion of it and you feel it. Because when you feel it, you're being it. If you're not feeling it, you're not being it. So if you've ever followed anyone that does visualization and talks about visualization, they're incredibly powerful when you can evoke the emotion that you want to experience in it. However, if you like, I've heard people say this before, because I had a mentor say this to me before too, like feel how you want to feel when you're in that place. And it's like, how the fuck am I meant to know what it feels like to be in that place? I've never been there, therefore I don't know. So what resonates really well for me is when I know the emotion that I want to experience, whether it's like that passion, courageous, like bold, raw, real, authentic, whatever it is, like whatever that being is, I can relate a song to that will evoke that in me. That's why I'm saying to you to do that and then feel it and experience it. So what are you committed to? Like, what is that one thing that you are committed to that day? What way do you need to show up to make it happen? Then I am a whatever it is, woman or man, and put like music to it so that you can get it going. I've often been like an absolute lunatic running around my kitchen doing all those moves, but do them, enjoy it. And then ask yourself, who do I need support from and what do I need support with to make it happen? Not will I do it, not can I do it, not am I going to do it. No. Who do I need support from and what do I need support with to make it happen so that you can move forward? I'm going to share with you again an example of a way that I knew full well that I would not do this. I would renegotiate with myself and it just would never happen. But I knew it was a cornerstone in my business. I knew it was like that milestone that if I broke this, like if I broke through this, this was like a massive breakthrough for me. Like I knew it. And what it required me to do, and I kid you not, right? What it required me to do was send an email. All I had to do was send an email with an invitation. And when I say it drove my mind spatty, I was sweating, I was like avoiding, and if you ask me what it was I was avoiding, at the time I didn't know, right? Now I know it was the rejection piece and being embarrassed and putting myself out there to be rejected, because that's what I knew from my childhood, right? But I knew that this was a breakthrough that I got to have. So I got a friend of mine, Sharon, and I got her on FaceTime and I had her right beside my laptop here. And I just said to her, I was like, I need you to stay on FaceTime to me. I don't need you to say anything. I don't need you to do anything. I just physically need you there for the accountability for me to send this so I can share with you when it's sent, when it's done, and I can prove to you that I did it so I don't renegotiate in my mind. And Sharon, just like me, is a coach and was new to her business and understood this. So never be embarrassed like by doing things like that, because whatever it takes to move forward means whatever it takes. Like I remember when I was starting my business and I heard this, whatever it takes, it was like all these ridiculous things came into my mind, as in like, you have to sell your soul and, you're going to be working 24/7 and everybody hates you and nobody wants to be around you and all you're doing is working all the time and you're like bad energy and, you've got to be greedy and selfish to do this. No. When they say do whatever it takes, it means like that. If you need a friend on a phone so that you can send an email, do that. If you need to put like a picture of your friend up near your camera so that you can go live, do that. If you need somebody in the room holding your hand while you're doing something, do it. That's what that means, not all the other stuff that isn't real. And actually, I'll tell you a story about another friend of mine too. Invoicing drove her bananas. Like, I mean, it was her thing that would cause her to go into a blind panic. And yet we know a lot of the systems create invoices, right? They will just generate them. But this was her breakthrough to have, because it was her like her piece for procrastination, and it was coming from the money because it was coming from self-worth, right? It wasn't actually about the administration of an invoice, which we will tell ourselves it is, because she would say, I want to get my laptop and throw it out the window. Had nothing got to do with the invoice. This is why I'm saying to you, you've got to be really honest and keep going, about what's causing this. Where is this coming from? Why am I feeling that? What am I feeling? Why am I feeling that? What am I feeling? Why am I feeling that? But for her, it was when she invoiced, that means that she was asking for money, which meant that it brought back her going, am I worthy enough to actually ask that of people? Is that enough value? To bring it back on, am I going to be rejected, humiliated, embarrassed? Therefore, I won't even do it. And it was made about the invoice, but that's not what it's about at all. So I hope this is resonating with you so you can see how these things show up. So like I said, you go through forgiveness, and then you cleanse, and then ask yourself these particular questions. But when it comes to it, only you can do this. There is nobody. Like, I remember a lady coming to me before, we had a sales call around coaching, and she was like, I need you to hold my hand every step of the way. And I was like, I cannot do that. I cannot do that, because you are responsible for your business, not me. You're responsible for your business. It is up to you to want to take the steps, because you are a CEO. So she had done like a huge amount of like years of mindset work, but wasn't applying it. She wanted to feel a certain way before she was going to do it. And there's a lot of people that sit in that, and it is the tipping point of a choice. Like, if you're a mom and your child, like, the way, like, there's so many things that we say we can't do. Like, I will bring it back to when Leah was really small, right? Like, well, she's probably not really small. I think she's about 9 or 10. And she had a pony, but before she had the pony, she used to go out and go horse riding all the time. And she was jumping in a competition, and the horse that she was on, she loved. Like, she absolutely adored this horse. I couldn't stand her because she was temperamental, and my baby was on her. So, I was like a little bit anxious about it. But anyway, Leah wanted to do this competition, was like, absolutely, let's do it. And I had brought her best friend with me too. So me and her best friend were there. Now, they were small, like they were like 9 and 10, they were small. And then obviously some of the other parents were there, and we were surrounded, like there was a wall in front of us, and there was like lots of horses here. And I still, like, there's about 15 seconds that I do not remember, right? My brain like has just, like, I actually don't know what happened. But Leah had done a couple of jumps, and she came up to this next jump, and the horse not only stopped but flung Leah off, and Leah flung up. So this is her head flung up back into the jump and straight down onto her head. I thought the child was dead. Like, it was horrendous. But all I remember seeing that, and next thing I was in the arena with her. I couldn't even tell you how I got there, because the wall was up to here on me. There was horses all here. I have no idea how I got to her, but I did. I was there before anybody else got to her, and I do not remember. I'm sharing this story with you for a reason. She was fine, thank God. Now, she was covered in bruises, which bring her to a chiropractor. She, like, oh my God, obviously got her checked out in the hospital, checked she didn't have a concussion, but she was purple with the bruises. And it's funny because this will tell you, like, the power of the mind. When she got, obviously when we took her out of the arena, her instructor took her, and 2 of the parents took me away because I was hysterical, and they didn't want me near her because it was like I literally was making her worse because I was so hysterical. But the instructor was like, she needs to get back up now, because if she doesn't, she's going to be terrified every time, and we don't want that. He was like, she needs to get up now. Do you think I wanted my child on the horse? Absolutely not. So they pulled another horse that they knew was like safe, would plod along, that she liked. And she did. She got up and she did the full round, and they gave her, like, special recognition and all of that, even though she was disqualified because of what happened in the first one. But this was like just an honorary round for her. And I'm so glad she did, because she continued to go on from it after that. And then obviously she had her own horse too. But my point in sharing that story with you is, when we are committed and nothing gets in our way. So in that moment, my decision and my choice was to get you my child, because I needed to make sure that she was okay. So nothing got in my way. A wall didn't get in my way. Horses didn't get in my way. Nothing got in my way. I honestly don't know how I got to her. Obviously, I asked parents afterwards. They said I pushed the horses out of the way and jumped over the wall to get to her. But I don't. I have no recollection of that. I just know I saw what happened. And next time I was in the arena with Leah. So my point being is when you're committed to something, nothing will get in your way. Nothing. So where do you get to go right now with your procrastination so that so it doesn't get in your way? Because it is a choice. And unless you're willing to work through it and start to choose differently, it isn't going to change. So every day that you choose to sit in the same thing and not do something about it, you're wasting time, because tomorrow is never guaranteed. We don't know what's going to happen. The next hour isn't even guaranteed. So why would you continue to live like that when there's other possibilities and other options out there? And there's ways to be able to work through it. So my invitation for you is really look deep at where your procrastination is coming from and what are the emotions that you don't want to experience and what's the breakthrough that you get to have. And like I said, if you want to know about the transformational program that I've done, it's not mine and it's not an affiliate program. I do not get money for referring people to them. I don't get anything for referring people to them. I truly believe in it, like wholeheartedly believe in it. Robert's done it. The majority of my clients have done this. Like I truly believe in it. I even want my mum to do it. I want Leah to do it because it's just so transformational. And the people that you meet on it as well are just like incredible, absolutely incredible. So if you do want to know more about that, let me know and I will guide you in that direction. I'll happily have any conversations that you want about it to support you. But do have a look at where your procrastination is coming from and know that it is something that you can work through and that it will continue to come up time and time again. And it doesn't mean that you're not good enough to do this. It's just part of how we get to evolve and how we get to grow. So this has been day 6 training. I hope it's been supportive for you, and share it with anybody else that needs this, because I know it's a topic that a lot of people, suffer with and sit in silence with it and think that there's something wrong with them, instead of actually going and looking at the ways in which you can move forward and knowing that it is something that will come up time and time again, that it's not just you can have all these things done and then it never appears again. Unfortunately, that's not the case. But yeah, share it with anyone who needs it, tag anybody who needs it. And if you want to know more about that transformational program, let me know. Tomorrow, we will lift up the energy again and we're going to look at becoming a sales superstar. I love sales. I used to hate them. I used to fear them. They are my mwah. Now I absolutely love them. And I'm going to show you how you can become a sales superstar too. And the little things that you can reframe in your mind so that it doesn't feel scary. I'll see you tomorrow.